Okay, so we are in the 7th week. You'll see here in week 7, we have our company research project. Next week is the midterm. So next week, we won't have any class. And I'll shoot out an email because that week you're going to be doing the midterm. If you still haven't gotten your textbook, if you still haven't logged on to SimNet, not SimNet, excuse me, Connect. If you still haven't logged on to Connect, you need your textbook in order to actually do the midterm, because all the questions and the answers are right out of the textbook. So if you haven't already done so, please get your textbook. Please make sure you have gotten it, reviewed it, had a chance to study it. The midterm and final is 50% of your grade. So it's probably the most important thing you can possibly work on is that in particular. And just as a reminder, we still have the discussion boards. I've seen no new posts in the discussion board, discussion board 1, 2. So I know you guys just aren't doing it. Please complete the discussion board. Some of you are doing it, some of you aren't. And then the midterm and final are questions similarly to the material that you would see in the discussion board. It's just textbook questions. So I'm going to go into the project that's due. This is I don't make the decisions in the projects. This is comes from the chair, the department chair of the business department. These assignments are designed by them. So we'll get into this very briefly. The company research project is a project where you need to research a business, a S&P 500 business. So what's an S&P 500 business? So if we click here, or we type in we go to Wikipedia, we look at S&P 500, it's pretty much an index that lists 500 different top businesses in the US. These businesses range from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Walmart, businesses like that. So for this assignment, you're going to pick and choose one business. You pick and choose the business you want. You go on the discussion board, and you should post the business you're going to be doing. I'll show you where it is real quick. You'll see right here, individual company project. So post a company you want to do. That way you're not duplicating someone else's company. That way there's no replication. Someone wants to do Google, post that you're doing Google. Okay. So once you pick your company, we have to do the assignment. So here's the instructions. These are older instructions. And this is not, here it is. This is older instructions because I modified the instructions to have specific information in here, information that's important for you. The information is important for you because this information has it's not just the instructions from the department, it's actually instructions I put in here as well. So you see I put tips here. This is to help you to complete the assignment. And we'll go over this in a bit. And you see this is from fall of 2022. I'm just reusing the same document, but the actual information in here is identical. I'll update it for you guys so you have I'll just update the dates for you, so it won't be an issue. First things first, let me just make sure you guys are able to see it, because right now the screen share is sharing something else. So let me just stop sharing, switch the screen share so you can see the document I'm talking about. Okay, so now you guys can see the document. This is a document I modified. It's the same information as the general rubric. but this document has the information, the assignment, but also I put tips in here with links and tips to help you complete the assignment easily. So the first thing you need to do is pick your company, right? Here's some examples of companies you can choose. Once you pick your company, you're going to come here to where it says first section, introduction, and you're going to answer the questions. So you could use your own Word document. If you want to put it into a PowerPoint slide, you can do that, but you could do it in a Word document and just answer the questions that you see bullet point here. So choose, what's the name of your company? Let's say you choose Pfizer. It's Pfizer. Which stock exchange is the company traded in? What is the ticker of the company? Question 3, question 4. And you're going to answer those questions, right? So I give you a tip here. If you click on this link and you type in your name, you can find a lot of the information that you're looking for. Then you go into the second section. You would answer this in a Word document, just like you would doing an essay. And the instructions are also here in terms of what to do. So what sector is Pfizer in, right? Pharmaceutical industry. Describe the role this sector and industry plays in our economy. All these questions are literally answered on Yahoo Finance. So if you go to Yahoo Finance, you type in the company you're researching, all these answers are on Yahoo Finance. When you search for the company, click into the company ticker, you will find all these answers. See who the chief executive officer is. All this information is there. So it's very easy to answer these questions because it's listed there. So that's why I give you these little tips to help you find where to find the answer. And I also go into more in depth in a video on the announcements. I will repost the video. I will repost. I'll make the video fresh so you can see it. And that I do a full walkthrough as an example. I use an example. I go on Yahoo Finance. I show you where everything is. I do a full example. Okay, so don't be intimidated by the questions. The answers are here, and I have a walkthrough video on the announcements, which I'll refresh it so you can see it again. I'll resend it out again, and it goes over everything. I just have to make sure that I opened up the video so you can see it. Then the third section is the company competitive environment. Again, you answer the questions. In the video, I go over where to find the answers, how to find the answers. Okay. I even give you a tip. When you find the company's 10K, which I show you how to do in a video, you go on the company's website, you go onto their investor section, and then you pull up their 10K, and then you can search the PDF file of the 10K. You can find all the answers. You can do Control F, find what you need. Then you answer the conclusion. Okay, and there's an appendix in the conclusion here where you need to present a SWOT table. I even tell you in the video how to do a SWOT table. I show you where to find a SWOT table. You don't have to, you don't even need to really think about it. If you Google the name of the company and type in SWOT, there's a lot of SWOT analysis that have been done in the company. Don't copy and paste it, but use it as reference to create your SWOT. Okay, nothing new. This has been done to death already. So you need to do an essay format, no more than 4 pages, 2 to 4 pages. If you really grind, if you watch the video I make and then you grind through this, you can complete this in a weekend or maybe a couple of hours because the answers are already there. You just have to know where to find it. And I show you where to find it. So it's not difficult. So don't be intimidated by the questions. They seem confusing. They seem maybe a little too high above what you're learning. Watch the video. I show you where to find the answers. I show you where to look for it. Just got to pick your company, duplicate what I'm doing, and it'll be easy, okay? This is a big part of your grade as well. This is the first part of our assignment. So that means you will be doing the research on your business. And then the second part of that is a presentation. Okay, and I'll change the dates. I'll modify the dates for you guys. This is from fall of 2022. I'm just reusing the same document because I put tips in the document. The actual document from the chair department doesn't have the tips in it. So that's why I'm reusing the same document because I added tips into it. for you guys. So the presentation comes later in the semester. The only thing you do with the presentation is you're literally taking all the material you just did. So you did the essay you did, and you're putting the essay into a PowerPoint, and you're doing a presentation. Record yourself doing a presentation, and you submit the presentation recording. That's it. Very easy to do. And I go over how to do that. So you don't have to worry about this right now, okay? For now, we'll be working on the company research project. So when does it due? So generally speaking, once this is, once you're cut, so this week starts the week of the presentation of the company research paper, and then it's due, I believe, maybe 4 weeks out. So the week 7, I'll tell you real quick. Hold on. Week 11, I think. I'll tell you which week it's due in. Week 12. Okay, so you have quite a bit of time to complete it. So it's due week 7, it's in week 12. Once week 12 is complete and you've submitted your individual project, the company research project, then you have till the end of the semester to complete your research project presentation. The presentation is just taking the information you've done the research, you're just putting into a PowerPoint. It doesn't take that long to do. You're not having to do more research. You're just compiling the information into a presentation as a PowerPoint presentation. And then you're going to record yourself on YouTube or Zoom presenting it. Usually we do it in class. Last semester, the class voted to just upload the presentation instead of doing a presentation in class. We will be meeting again after the midterm, and we'll discuss that. As we get closer to the date, I'll see how many students are still left actually, completing the work and engaging. And based upon that, I'll give my final instructions of what we're going to do. Okay, so let me change the screen sharing for you guys to hold on. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the actual presentation is not available, the video tutorial. So I'm going to add it real quick. I actually have it set up to upload in 4 days, but I'm going to make it sooner so you guys can see it, and I will send this out to the class so you can here we go. If you can't see the video on your announcements in Blackboard, I also post the YouTube link. You can click on the YouTube link. I'm going to email this to everyone real quick. All right, so you should see that. That is the company research, company report research project video tutorial. And that tutorial goes over everything we just discussed. I got some of the waiting room coming in here. All right, so let me just go back to share screen. And let's go to the lecture. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about the project, feel free to email me. You have your midterm coming up next week. If you're having challenges getting your textbook, getting set up with Connect, let me know. I've had some students with some challenges. They're able to fix those challenges by calling the McGraw-Hill customer service line, which I posted up. If you look at the customer service line, you'll see they're open almost 24 hours, 7 days a week. They're very helpful. They can definitely help you get online if you're having any issues. If you haven't gotten your textbook, you need to get your textbook. The midterm and the final, it's all textbook stuff. So if you can show up to class, please get the textbook because showing up to class is important, but actually being able to study for your midterm final is 50% of your grade. So just make sure you're able to do that. So we're going over managers. What do managers do? I don't want you to confuse management with leadership. Leadership is not the same thing as management. As management, managers are not leaders, but they can lead and they can be in a position to lead. It's important to understand that managing is a role that you're given to oversee and look after a given service, subjects, individuals, so on and so forth. Managers are are engaged in these 4 activities. And this is sort of textbook stuff. So this is the type of stuff you'd see on your exam, right? What are 4 things that managers do? Planning, organizing, leading, controlling. Now, even though I'm telling you that managers are not always leaders, the textbook is saying that they do leading. So take that into consideration for examination purposes. But what I'm telling you realistically is not all managers are leaders. Not all managers are in positions of leadership. Neither do all managers actually exhibit leadership qualities or characteristics. But good management should entail leading and leadership. So when they go over planning, organizing, leading, controlling, there's these basic sort of definitions here, right? Organizing goals, developing strategies. And, to be honest with you, again, this is all very textbook. A lot of it depends on your job position. You could be in a management position and you're not really developing strategies. You could just be hired to enforce a strategy and to make sure that people are doing the strategy. You may not necessarily actually be involved in creating a strategy, right? And that's important because the level of management that you're engaged in determines the frequency or capabilities that are listed here. So you may have limited planning being encompassed in your management because you're not a manager that gets to create strategies. You're not a manager that's able to determine resources. You just may be limited to what's available. You may just be creating like a structure that's given to you from a higher up, and then you're just being told and asked to do that, to manage, to make sure that everyone's doing that. The lower you go down the management chain, the less planning you have accessible to, the less organizing, the less controlling, the less leading you sometimes do. And that's not always the case depending on what type of management you're doing. So you may be at the bottom level of the management chain, but you're more hands-on because you have to engage directly with your employees to get them to do the things that is required of them. So you may be more hands-on in engaging in their day-to-day activities, but you may have zero planning in terms of the strategic side of planning. You may have restrictive controls over not monitoring their performance, but in terms of rewarding them. So you'll see that as you go down the management chain and go up the management chain, these four aspects of management may shift and change based upon where you are in the process. If you're very high up in the management chain, you're like the CEO or some sort of C-level executive or even upper middle management, you're less hands-on with the people down below. If you're managing Best Buy, you're a manager of Best Buy. If you're managing the actual shopping location, you're down there with the employees. You're also down there with the customers, right? So you maybe are seeing, experiencing a very different situation scenario than if you're in a C-suite somewhere in an office. You're not touching or talking to any employees. You're not touching and talking to the customers. You're looking at data and information that helps you understand what's going on. So the degree to which you're leading or controlling or measuring or planning or organizing is very different, right? You may be organizing employees because they're directly in front of you, and so are the customers, because you're on a lower level of management. If you're in a higher level of management, you're not necessarily touching that, but you are the one creating the structure in terms of what they do. And that's sometimes where we get problems, management problems, because the people at the bottom are the ones that are dealing with all the day-to-day stuff. Let's say the nonsense, the problems, the issues. But when you're on top, you're making high-level decisions, but you might be insulated from actually understanding what's happening on the floor. So you're hopefully getting information from the team below, telling you what's going on top to help you influence your decision. So this goes into different management structures, management theories, ideas on how you should structure management. You know, flat level of management where the managers on top are actually kind of with the managers below, and versus a hierarchical level of management, so on and so forth. So which one's better, which one's worse? It kind of depends on your business model, your customers, your revenue streams, how you procure opportunities. The business really kind of determines what silo of management style is more effective in general versus which is less effective. This is referred to as a SWOT matrix. This is one of the things you'll be doing. You'll do a SWOT matrix for your company research project. I recommend you do some research, whatever company you're doing, like if you're doing Microsoft, if you Google SWOT in Microsoft, you'll find SWOT analysis. And you can use that as reference to help you complete your SWOT for your assignment. But SWOT just means S is for strength, W is for weakness, O is for opportunity, T is for threat. That's what SWOT means. So you're looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the company. It's pretty standard as far as analyzing a company is concerned. You know, it's good to understand what they're looking at with a SWOT analysis. So strengths would be like Amazon, 2-day shipping. They have a good logistical system, distribution system, so on and so forth. Weaknesses. I mean, I know someone that works. I know a seller, Amazon seller, an employee, and the employee can't stand working for Amazon because how they treat their employees. And the seller that uses Amazon to sell, he feels like they kind of bully him and take advantage of the fact that they have such mass and scale, and his items get lost and stolen, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So sometimes when you get really big, like so big, a lot of problems start to occur in a large company because things get kind of lost in the mix, and that might not be what you find when you go online and Google, but that's an example of things that I've heard. Opportunities would be sort of, you know, what's the next step for Amazon, right? They sell you stuff. They've got Amazon Video. I mean, Amazon could buy TikTok, right? you, you never know because of the whole thing going on with China and in the US and wanted to ban TikTok. Now they're a social media company. There's a lot of opportunities for what they could do because they have so much money and size and scale. Threats. So, what are threats to the company? It's hard to say. If you look at Walmart a couple of decades ago, it would be hard to say who could threaten Walmart. But Amazon came in and really changed the whole shopping scene. So threats are really depends on the future of technology and where things go. So that's just an example of how SWOT works. Um, so when you see these test prep questions, these are not necessarily questions you will see on the exam, but by understanding the answer to these questions, which by the way, you'll see that if you look at the PowerPoint, the questions are usually at the bottom of the PowerPoint. You'll see that these answers kind of like, for example, what are the 6 Ds of decision making? The answers are right here, right? Define the situation, describe and collect information, so on and so forth. The exam itself is looking more at what's in the Connect McGraw-Hill textbook, those definitions. So if you see what's here is also what's in the textbook, pretty good chance it could be a question on the exam. So I always say for the exam, if you memorize all the definitions, you're pretty good for passing the exams because most of this is just definitions. The reason why is because the definitions are there to help you understand and learn the terminology so that when you take more advanced business classes, because you understand the terminology, you can then start to think about and go over the strategy of what that terminology means. So management levels, you have top level management, that's the C level, CEO, Chief Executive Officer, COO, Chief Operating Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, CIO, this one's usually Chief Information Officer, sometimes a Chief Technology Officer, depends on the company and what their strategy and goals are. Middle management, so top management, they make the big decisions. They make the highest level strategic decisions. They call the executive suite. They make all the top-down decisions. Middle management is usually organizing what the top brass is saying, and they're usually divisional managers. So, for example, I'll give you an example. A bank. All right, let's say you go to a Chase Bank or a Citibank or a Bank of America, and you see branches all over the state, the city. You go to California, you'll see a Chase Bank. You go to New York, you'll see a Chase Bank. You'll see a Bank of America. You see all these banks. Those are branches, right? So if you look at this chain, let's you see Chase Bank. Jamie Dimon is the CEO, so that guy manages Chase Bank. Then when you go into the physical branch where you go and deposit a check or take out money, you might talk to a branch manager, someone that works at the branch level. That's on the supervisory. So they're supervising the employees that work in the branch. Then you might have someone who's managing many branches. So you have a manager who manages the branch level, then you have someone who manages multiple branches or multiple locations, sort of like a regional manager. And then you have like a market manager that might manage all of the East Coast division. So literally every New York location or every New Jersey location or every Ohio location. And then you go higher and higher up. So middle management usually is like divisional managers. So they might be managing multiple locations or they might be managing a state level. So they could be managing dozens or hundreds of locations. And they're responsible for more of the tactical planning, the controlling, managing the managers, and so on and so forth. This is important to understand because it does affect uh, the exam, but also it affects you understanding how things work. If you work at a Target and you're physically, stocking shelves and doing things at Target and putting things out, you have your manager that's managing you, or you have your team lead, and your manager is managing you. The manager of that location answers to a higher level manager that's probably managing multiple locations of multiple targets. And then that manager that's managing multiple targets is being managed by another higher manager that's managing maybe actual specific geographic locations like all of Westchester, all of New York, all of New Jersey, certain parts of the Northeast, and so on and so forth. And you want to make sure that that shipment gets to where it needs to get to. All those levels of management are there, fulfilling those roles, making sure everything's going okay, talking to suppliers, and there's lots of suppliers, right? So what type of there might be a management team that just deals with the supply chain, right? Because Target's such a sophisticated company, and then the supply chain of produce is totally different than the supply chain of clothing, right? Because your clothing isn't going to spoil if it sits in the heat, right? But that refrigerated goods has a very specific supply chain. How long it can sit there on the shelf, make sure it comes there, make sure it doesn't, what if the box tips over, all your glass stuff breaks, right? So different skills. So as you go up the management chain, one manager might not necessarily be fit to manage all aspects of the business. You have different managers sometimes managing different aspects of the business. That's why even on the top level, you have one person managing just the finances, the chief financial officer, another person managing the operations, COO, another person managing all the technology, the CIO, because of how it integrates on all levels. The chief executive officer, which is sort of overseeing the whole shebang, so to speak. So and then how all these different entities and management levels intersect and connect with each other and work together. I don't know about you, but I know from my personal experiences, a lot of times businesses are very, very, very deeply disconnected. And I don't even have to be an employee to realize that. Just doing business with companies sometimes, they don't know what they're doing. I went to a store one time to buy something. The guy says, "Oh, it's not. It'll be there next week." I said, "Okay. Well, today's Thursday. When is it going to be there?" He said, "Oh, we don't know when the shipping's going to come. Probably next week Thursday." I said, "Okay. You sure it's going to come the weekends?" "No, Thursday, Friday, maybe Monday the earliest." I said, "Okay." So I come the day he comes. I come the day he says to come. The item came in last week. It's been there for a whole week. I said, "Okay." I said, "All right. Well, the one of the managers told me the wrong shipping time, which happens." But then the person that's there tells me, "Oh, we actually had partial shipment there already." So I said, "I'm talking to the guy last week. He's telling me the item is there. It's not there, excuse me. And you're telling me the item was there, but all of it wasn't available." So I said, "How come you didn't tell me that?" She looks at me like, "I don't know." And that happens sometimes where, and this is a single shop. This isn't some big multinational 1,000 locations all over the US. This is a small location. But one person doesn't know what's going on with the other person. Someone else is handling the shipping. Someone else doesn't know what the distribution is. There's no connection. And you'll find that as organizations become larger and you start to silo the work relationships of different divisions of employees, the employees don't have any idea about anything outside of their own silo. And it creates problems when there needs to be interconnectivity. So sometimes interconnectivity is a very important part of it. And that happens on the managerial level and also the technology level where everyone can kind of be connected to each other such that they're aware of what everything else is going on, and it prevents problems. So this is just sort of the what we went over earlier. some of the things we discussed as well about skills and strategies per management level. I'm not gonna get too much into management styles right now, and the theory of of those characteristics. But what I do want to get into though is that as a manager, your role isn't necessarily to tell other people what to do. Your role is to sort of organize people according to the goals and objectives of the company, and making sure that you're organizing whatever and whomever successfully to those goals, and having a clear structure based upon it. So class, remember that we have midterms coming up. We will not have class during our midterms. Okay, so we won't be meeting up next time.